And now, a next-level moment from AT&T Business. Say you've sent out a gigantic shipment of pillows, and they need to be there in time for International Sleep Day. You've got AT&T 5G, so you're fully confident. But the vendor isn't responding, and International Sleep Day is tomorrow. Luckily, AT&T 5G lets you deal with any issues with ease, so the pillows will get delivered and everyone can sleep soundly, especially you. AT&T 5G requires a compatible plan and device. Coverage not available everywhere. Learn more at att.com/5G network.
16 years from today, Greg Gerstner will finally land the perfect cannonball. Epic splash. Unsuspecting friends. A work of art only possible because Greg is already meeting all these same people at AARP volunteer and community events that keep him active and involved and help make sure his happiness lives as long as he does. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Learn more at aarp.org/local.
Hello and a good Monday morning, ladies, gentlemen, fanatics of all ages. Welcome to Phillies Therapy for the third time in 7 days. That's right, a special 3-episode week. Something very cool happened over the weekend. The Phillies clinched a playoff spot for the 4th consecutive year. There is other business to take care of, but it is now mathematically guaranteed that the Phillies will be playing postseason baseball once again. There will be another Red October. There will be playoff baseball at Citizens Bank Park. All that's left to be decided is who it's going to be against and when. That's what we're thinking about as we turn into the home stretch, the final sets of games, the final series, which begins with a road trip to the West Coast. Normally a house of horrors, but feels a little less foreboding at the moment. There is a big series for the Phillies to tackle, and it starts on Monday night. But the stakes are not enormous. And it's nice to be breathing a little bit easier with some competitive games in their back pocket, the Phillies' back pocket. Not feeling as though they've been on cruise control for a month, but also not feeling as though they're sweating every detail. It's a pretty decent spot to be in. The Phillies are 89-61 after a tremendous homestand that started with their magic number at 13 and dwindled all the way to 1 with the chance to clinch at home on Sunday, which unfortunately didn't happen, but that's okay. That's a nice to have. The Phils sit 89-61. They are 12 games up on a playoff spot, which means, yes, mathematically in, thanks to some tiebreakers and other math. The Mets are just barely hanging on thanks to their walk-off win that also prevented the Phillies from clinching the East yesterday. They are a game and a half up in the playoff race. But the Phillies and Dodgers are the teams that square off tonight for a 3-game set. If the Phillies win this series, they hold the tiebreaker and all but end the pursuit of the Dodgers getting a bye. It is a big series in that regard. You don't want to get swept here. That would complicate things. 1 win is great. 2 wins effectively ends it. 3 wins, yes, that's basically all she wrote. And joining me now to talk about this upcoming series and the Arizona series that follows that over the weekend is my co-host. He is out there. He traveled. He made it. He is in Los Angeles. He is Phillies beat writer for The Athletic, Matt Gelb. Matt, hello. Good early morning to you out west. How are you? How was your weekend?
I'm great. So I landed last night, and I don't rent a car in a lot of cities anymore just because it's a hassle, but LA is the one city where you have to rent a car just because you basically can't get into Dodger Stadium without a car. It's really great work they've done. And I booked through Avis just because the New York Times has a contract corporate rate through Avis, and so I land and I open up my app and it says it's gonna pick a car for me, and that's great. Whatever. I rented, it's like an intermediate car, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. I just need a nice sedan that will get me to and from Pasadena and Dodger Stadium, and then it pops up on my app. I'm on the shuttle going to the new rental car center at LAX. They're preparing for the Olympics here. Remember, the Olympics are going to be here in a couple years?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. What happens next?
And it pops up on my phone that they have chosen a car for me.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna I don't like this car. This is not what I wanted. So
Okay.
I'm like, I'm gonna go stop at the counter, downstairs, the Avis preferred counter, whatever it is, just on my way out, just to try to change the car. And the line is like 12 deep, and I'm like, I can't wait this long. I'm pretty hungry. The Inquirer's Lachlan Marsh is with me, and she's also hungry. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like we're just gonna take this car. And so I have now checked off a box. I am pretty happy about my decision. It's ridiculous, but I was cruising down the 405 last night in a white Ford Bronco.
No. Of all the I was trying to figure out where it was going to go, and I
swear to God,
land on
I
that.
swear to God, that is the car that I was given. It's a nice car.
Yeah. No,
probably the biggest car I've ever driven in my life.
Yeah, the Bronco making a comeback. Oh my God! All right, that's all right. That's great.
It's great to be in LA.
Congrats to you for living out that dream. Yeah. All right. That's all right. So I need to reset myself here. We're out west. You're out west. I'm back at east in New Jersey.
You're gonna stay up tonight.
You've totally thrown me. I that's so funny. I was just not expecting that. Yeah. So 10 o'clock Eastern games tonight, Monday, September 15th, Tuesday and Wednesday, all 10 o'clock starts, all late night, burning the midnight oil.
I mean, it feels, yesterday was weird, right? Because had they won, the Eagles game was about to start and had the Phillies clinched, like, yes, there would have been a lot of attention toward it, but I feel like it almost would have been overshadowed. And then had they clinched with a Phillies loss and a Mets loss, the whole thing just wouldn't have felt right?
I guess,
and they were about to get on a plane, and they got massively delayed. They had major mechanical issues, and the Phillies had to get another plane from Delta and didn't get out here to California, I don't think, until really early in the morning this morning. So
is this like the third time they've had significant issues this season? I mean, I guess as a matter of the flights that they take, that I guess it happens a little more often, but it feels like
they charter yeah, I mean, it's not like they have a team plane, right? I mean, like they don't have, it's not like Major League where they're flying like the prop jet, that the Cleveland Indians are flying in that movie. No, the Phillies charter a plane from Delta, and many teams do this. So they've just had bad luck this year. I mean, really bad luck. This is like the third time, yes. But the whole thing would have felt a little disjointed. And I know that, people are going to probably have to stay up late, to watch the Phillies clinch now sometime here in LA. And yes, that's unfortunate. But I think for a lot of guys in that room, yes, they would have liked to done it at home. But I also think that doing it on the road might be even a little more special to them, because it will be just the people who are supposed to be there in that clubhouse. And I think that they that might mean something with some of those guys. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm mainly just excited to see this Phillies-Dodgers matchup. I mean, this is very much a matchup that even if the Phillies don't get a bye, this is very much the matchup we could see in the NLDS, because right now it looks like the Phillies and the Dodgers either way are going to be on that 2-3 seed line. And the 2 seed plays the winner of the 3-6 from the first round. So, it feels like if things hold, we are hurtling toward a Phillies Dodgers NLDS. And that makes this even more interesting this week to see how these two teams match up, because the Phillies are going to throw their 3 guys against the Dodgers. They're 3 lefties, and the Phillies are going to see Ohtani on the mound for the first time ever, and they're going to see Blake Snell later in the series. So a lot to be interested about in this 3 games. But there's only 12 left in the season now, Paul.
Yeah, this is a nice glimpse of a potential playoff preview in a moment in time during the season where it actually feels like it matters a little bit. You don't really expect the Phillies, I don't think, to see Emmett Sheehan if this matchup comes to pass, who's the Dodgers probable starter in Game 1. But
I mean, I guess the one scenario would be right. I mean, the one scenario you'd see him is that, say the Phillies get the bye, Dodgers play a wild card series, and they play a 3-game series and advance, and they need a 4th starter for the first game of the NLDS.
That could happen.
That could be Emmett Sheehan.
Yeah,
he's pitched well.
So just to reset things a little bit here, what this bye actually has at stake here, right? Apart from being one of the top 2 seeds in the league, which carries with it some prestige apart from absolutely anything else, the 3 games that they would skip in the wild card series: Tuesday, September 30th, Wednesday, October 1st, Thursday, October 2nd, if necessary. Those are the wild card schedules. The NLDSs would then pick up on Saturday, October the 4th. So that's a good chunk of time that the Phillies would have to rest, get some of the injured guys, see Alec Bohm and Trey Turner, a little extra time if they need it. And then there is an extra off day built into the NLDSs this year. The 5th and the 7th of October would be off days between games 1 and 2 and games 2 and 3. So there's a lot that could change about the order of things, not just the matchups, the teams that could potentially face one another, but also the way these pitchers get deployed. That being said, this is still a playoff preview. This is very much a thing that the Phillies could look at and use to their hopefully advantage if they do meet the Dodgers later on in October, especially getting a look at Ohtani on the mound, especially getting a look at Blake Snell on the mound, especially getting a look at some of these hitters. You know, the Dodgers are going to be without Will Smith, their catcher, who's on the IL with a sore hand, a hand injury.
Yeah, it sounds like rushing. The other catcher will be back Tuesday. But yeah, right now their 2 catchers are Ben Rortvedt and Chucky Robinson, who I rode on the elevator with last night at my hotel.
Oh,
so he's here in Pasadena.
That you were able to recognize him, I think, puts you ahead.
I clocked him. I could tell he was a player. And we got in the elevator, and he had a tag on his bag, and
okay,
it was him. Yeah,
there you go. But yeah, the Dodgers are, Shohei Ohtani is probably going to win another NL MVP. He is very much a force and a factor to be reckoned with here. Mookie Betts is coming around a little bit.
That's a good point you make, though. I mean, they've never seen, the fact that they will see Ohtani now and not hypothetically see him for the first time on the mound in a playoff game. That's not insignificant.
No, it's not. I mean, look, Ohtani is still working his way back into being a pitcher of any kind of real bulk, right? Like he's not fully powered up as a pitcher yet. He's still
and
only
he might
getting
not be in the playoffs.
And he might not be. No.
I mean, he might be a 5-inning guy in the playoffs.
Yeah, he might be, right? He's made one start where he's finished 5 innings in his time back here, and this is 12 starts under his belt so far. He's been good, I mean, he's been pretty good. The ERA is a little high, but it belies, he's been effective.
49 strikeouts in 36 innings. You think that's
good? like this is still a guy to be reckoned with here. And if you're looking to get this one bare minimum win in this series out of the way, it would be nice to take care of it against Sheehan, where you don't have to worry about, figuring out Ohtani on the fly to try and get this, right? Like it kind of feels like game 1 of this series, maybe a little extra nice to get the win here. Sort of like how it was when the Phillies and Mets played during this last homestand, when Aaron Nola was on the mound for game 1 of that series, where it felt like, okay, the Phillies just need to stave things off here. They just need to keep the Mets at arm's length. They entered that series up 7 games. You don't want to let in any ghosts. And Nola gave his best start of the year. And we all know what happened after that. It was a near perfect week in many regards for the team. So yeah, it would be a little extra nice to get that win out of the way, get it done, clinch the division, not have to worry too much about that, secure your place in the bye conversation. Whether they end up catching Milwaukee or not becomes, it's still a little bit less of a deal. Like maybe they do catch Milwaukee.
I mean,
maybe they don't.
I think it's still a big deal. I mean, like they should be trying for it because.
Oh, sure.
Just being that 1 seed, I do think it's a better track in the National League. Because the 1 faces the 4 and the 5, the winner of the 4-5, and as of now, and it looks pretty locked in there. Like Cubs Padres, I think is pretty locked in, right? To be the 4-5, don't you think?
The Cubs certainly, because they're in pretty well locked into the Brewers already clinched the division, I'm pretty sure, and they are.
I mean, the Padres are now 5 up on the Mets.
Yeah, so
I mean that 4-5 matchup is pretty locked in.
Yeah, no, Milwaukee's just clinched a spot. They haven't fully clinched the division yet. Their lead is actually a lot shorter than the Phillies. The Phillies are going to clinch their division first. But yeah, because the Cubs are that far back of the Brewers in the division, they don't stand a chance of getting a top 3 seed, right? Because the top wild card,
yes,
is 4th.
Yeah.
by default.
No,
even
I'm
if
just
the
saying,
Cubs
like, I mean,
finish out of
the only scenario here is like the Padres catch the Dodgers for the division. And the Padres are only 2.5 back right now, but
Mhm.
it just firmly looks like the 4-5 is Cubs versus Padres.
And so
the
then
Cubs hosting.
Is it really that much of a thing to look at the potential of facing either the Dodgers or Mets again in this case as that much worse of a path than facing either the
No,
Cubs or
it's
the
not.
Padres? Like, yeah, I kind of feel like the NL really is an open race this year. I tend to agree
The
with
entire sport is.
yeah, the overall assessment that it's not really going to make a huge difference. If they get the top seed and everything goes through Citizens Bank Park, yes, that helps. Eliminating the need to have to go to Milwaukee for 4 out of 7 games in the event that it gets to that. Yeah. That's an advantage. It's not the end all be all. I think as long as they get this bye, if the number 1 seed falls into place after that, because they'll keep playing, but they'll start rotating guys in too. It's not like it's going to be a full bore assault on the number 1 seed. Like if they get it, then okay. But really just locking up this bye is key.
Yeah, and the other thing, this is looking way, way far ahead. But I mean, right now they do have a better record than every American League team. They're 1.5 games up on the Blue Jays, who are the next closest. But that does matter for, if you do find a way to get to the end there at the World Series. Even if you don't have the top seed in the NL, it's very possible that you would, have home field in the World Series if you get there.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
And now, a next-level moment from AT&T Business. Say you've sent out a gigantic shipment of pillows, and they need to be there in time for International Sleep Day. You've got AT&T 5G, so you're fully confident. But the vendor isn't responding, and International Sleep Day is tomorrow. Luckily, AT&T 5G lets you deal with any issues with ease, so the pillows will get delivered and everyone can sleep soundly, especially you. AT&T 5G requires a compatible plan and device. Coverage not available everywhere. Learn more at att.com/5G network.
16 years from today, Greg Gerstner will finally land the perfect cannonball. Epic splash. Unsuspecting friends. A work of art only possible because Greg is already meeting all these same people at AARP volunteer and community events that keep him active and involved and help make sure his happiness lives as long as he does. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Learn more at aarp.org/local.
PNC Private Bank doesn't take unnecessary risks managing your wealth because we know that maintaining its integrity is important to you. But as humans, we crave a little adrenaline, so our advisors have some ideas.
Sometimes I book a hotel without reading the reviews.
Occasionally, when no one is looking, I double dip.
Once while driving, I came to a full stop for 2 seconds instead of 3.
However you get your kicks, just know your wealth will remain steady and secure with us. PNC Private Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank National Association, member FDIC.
So matchups aside and exact scheduling aside, which is all yet to be determined over these final 2 weeks here, Matt, we need to take a couple of minutes here to think about what the biggest questions are facing this team over the next 2 weeks. As they round out their regular season, they are on the cusp of clinching the NL East. The magic number is 1. They are very, very close to securing their spot as a top 2 seed in the National League. That is not done and dusted, but it is also very close. There are some things to sort out, regardless of who they play, regardless of when they start their postseason run over these next 2 weeks. It starts at the top of the rotation, honestly. Well, not the very top, obviously. We know Christopher Sanchez is the number 1 here. But the order in which these guys are going to be deployed is going to be important. There are scheduling things to take into account there. We mentioned the off days. There are questions about who exactly will be used. It's maybe less of a question now than it would have been at the start of the year, thinking ahead to a potential playoff rotation, given the changes and performances of certain players. But then we also have questions about health, availability, and what does the end of the bench, what does the end of the roster look like? So Matt, let's try and tackle these in order a little bit here, at least as best we can in our style, in our way. Let's think about the rotation a little bit, the playoff rotation. We know Christopher Sanchez is your game one guy. That's what's going to happen. He's number one. But after that, I personally am locked into the idea of 3 lefties in a row.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's.
Is the team okay with that? Like, yeah, they're going to do that, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and then, whenever you need a fourth guy, you deal with it. I mean, it's probably still Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
With a shorter leash. And look, I think
that's fine.
Sunday's game was managed with Monday's game in mind.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that's the worst. I know a lot of people were disappointed that they didn't clinch at home, but hate to say this, but like Monday's game is more important because it is against the Dodgers. Like that's simply that. I mean, because of the bye situation here. So I think that in a different situation, Aaron Nola, there's probably a quicker hook there, and maybe they avoid that big inning. But I mean, it's what happened is something we've seen before, and it's probably why you have pause starting Aaron Nola in one of the first 3 games of a series, and it's also why you'll have pause, pushing him deeper into a game if he does start, a game 4 of an LCS hypothetically. So I do believe it'll be managed a little differently, and I understand why they did what they did Sunday. But I think it just sort of reinforced, what we've all been thinking and what they've been leaning toward, and that is 3 lefties. Now, how you treat each guy will be different, I think, and the order of those guys, I think, is still to be determined somewhat. I advocated for a Sanchez, Suarez, Luzardo rotation, just having Suarez break those 2 guys up, and I think that does make the most sense. But I also think that they could do the other way. They could also just have a really, a really quick hook on both those lefties who aren't Sanchez. But all 3 guys have pitched really well, and we've talked about it. But they seem to be really rounding into shape, all 3 of them. And this week in LA is a phenomenal test for all 3 guys. And you're not going to be making any rash decisions based on how these guys do this week. But it's great intel just to see how they react to pitching against a team like the Dodgers. With in important games here in September.
Yeah, it very much is a deal with the problem when you get there, if and when you get there, when Aaron Nola comes into play. Yeah, the whole season's been unfortunate for him. The ineffectiveness, the injury, trying to follow up the Mets start with something a little bit better, and it didn't.
He'd still be your 4th guy, no?
Sure. Oh yeah. So
I mean, like I don't. Yeah.
When it comes to Nola right now here in 2025, it's a different Aaron Nola than what we've all been used to going into the playoffs, right? He's been somebody you could count on as a guy who, can make the playoff start, and you can trust to go multiple times through the order and not have to worry too much about pulling the ripcord in the 4th or 5th inning. I mean, it's happened, but like you don't have to fret about that. This version of Aaron Nola is far different and changes things, right? The first time through the order, I'm just looking at his regular season stats for what they'd be worth here. The first time through the order, he's been about average this year. He's giving up a 717 OPS. It's slightly worse than average in the split. It's a 104 split OPS plus. And then things just get totally crazy. In the second time through and the third time through, he's getting rocked. And that's not good. And that's a different version of Aaron Nola. So figuring that he is on that much shorter of a leash, the pretzel logic, because I've tried to think about different ways that this could go just to kind of prepare myself for something that may fall beyond the obvious. Again, personally, I would go the 3 lefties, bang, 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 start Aaron Nola in game 4, and then kind of figure it out depending on how he's going and how the offense is doing. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, you don't want to use Aaron Nola out of the bullpen if you can help it. I think we both agree there that he is probably a less effective option out of the bullpen among the current starting options. What then do you think? And I'm just tossing this out there. I promise this is not what I want. This is just where my pretzel logic was bringing me. What do you think about Nola for one time through the order and then bringing Luzardo in a start? Is that a waste? Is that a waste?
No, it's not a waste. I think it just depends on matchup.
Okay.
If you're facing a team that does hit lefties well, I think that has to be a consideration. Nola's really struggled against left-handed hitters, and that's another part. I mean, if the matchup is such that the other team can stack some lefties against him, then I would have some serious pause about that. So I think, Paul, the bigger conversation, like, it's easy to focus on the rotation, but I think the more interesting conversation to me is how the bullpen's going to shape up, and not just, we know who's generally going to be trusted, but we don't know when those guys will pitch, and we don't know how, if they are aggressive with their starting pitchers, who, outside of Sanchez, who is pitching in the middle of these games? Like, who is coming in the fourth inning if there's trouble? Who's pitching the sixth inning if your starter gives you 5 and you said, all right, great, thank you, you went twice through the order, we're up by 2, we're going to go to the bullpen. Like, I don't know what the middle of the games looks like for them right now, and I think over the next 12 days they need to have some clarity about that, like feeling like they know who is going good, who they want to use in certain matchups, certain situations, and I think there's a lot up in the air with that right now.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. This is another part where the extra off days in the National League side,
Yes.
in the LDS would really come in handy, because the Phillies do have right now. There are 4 guys, and then Kerkering is behind them, where it's like, okay, you are at the top of the bullpen depth chart. It goes Duran number 1. He is for the end of games. Banks and Strom in the next, on the next rung of the ladder. I feel pretty good about either of those guys coming in, whoever it is, if it's in a big spot. I'm thinking ahead, quick tangent. I'm thinking ahead to something like an end of year thing where I look at just the weird stuff that has happened with this team, and Tanner Banks in low leverage spots when the game is just out of hand. He's been so bad for reasons that can't quite be explained. That's just, but in high leverage, he's been great, and that's what the playoffs are. And Strom is shown that he's Matt Strom again, which is great. David Robertson has been David Robertson. So you have those guys, and then you have the off days in between. You can push them a little bit, right?
And that's significant because I'm looking at this now, and when you're talking, just prompted me to think about this. You can avoid, at least in the division series, pitching guys on back-to-back days there.
Yeah.
And that is significant because, for example, Dave Robertson has pitched 4 times on a back-to-back, like the second of a back-to-back, 0 days rest. 9.82 ERA, 3 2/3 innings, 4 runs allowed. Kerkering has done it 8 times. He's walked 5 guys, struck out 4 in 6 2/3, a 4.05 ERA. Strom on zero rest, the second of a back-to-back 8 times. He's got a 3.5 ERA in those situations. The one guy who's been really, really good, and he's been used the most on back-to-backs, is Tanner Banks. 16 times, 13 strikeouts, 1 walk, 14 innings, 2.5 ERA. But that is significant because I didn't even need to look at the numbers to know that Kerkering has struggled and Robertson has struggled on a back-to-back.
Yeah.
So that in the division series is one thing to remember. That's a pretty big advantage there.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is. But I feel good about that amount of depth, going 4 deep, and then Kerkering probably he's shown he had some success doing the fireman thing.
Well, if we're talking about what do we want to see in the last 12 days, he's near the top of my list. It's I'm working on a story about him, and I don't think it's the worst timing, to have him go through some of the struggles in early September as opposed to early October, like what happened last year.
Sure.
And without giving away my story, like, I think there's some things that have helped him think about pitching maybe a little differently. And we'll see what happens over the next 12 days. But I think if they're able to get him back on track and thinking a little differently, that stands to me as one of the bigger things that could happen over these last 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think, once we get into the deeper parts of the bullpen, and if somebody does have to come out in the, 3rd inning or earlier, which is entirely possible here in the playoffs, that happens a lot,
I think I know who it's going to
be. Max Lazar?
No.
Taijuan Walker?
No.
Who? Walker Buehler?
The guy who started the other night, Walker Buehler.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay.
Who do you trust? Okay, let's. This person's going to remain nameless.
Okay.
He works for an American League team, and he texted me after reading my story about Walker Buehler, and he was just just trying to poke me, and he was being silly, but because I wrote that, I think Buehler has a good shot at making this roster. and he thought that was insane. But I was like, if you got 9 locks, which is the 4 starters, that includes Nolan, the 5 relievers we've been talking about, the leverage guys.
Yeah.
You've got 3 more spots to fill out on, maybe even 4 more pitching spots to fill on your roster. And I'm going to do an A and B test right now. Okay.
Okay.
Bueller versus Ty Walker. Which one you taking?
I'm flipping a coin. I mean, Bueller had a good start against the Royals. Like that was fine. 5 innings with 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. Like, okay, that's cool. That's one start. You know, we saw Tim Meza come over to this team, have a really impressive first outing, and he has been unimpressive since. I mean, totally different. Like it's relief versus starting, blah blah blah. I know, but these things can kind of fall apart. It feels like a little bit of a house of cards when you're talking about a guy.
All right, just do this A/B test here, okay? Walker Bueller or Taijuan Walker?
Bueller.
Walker Bueller or Lou Trevino?
Bueller.
Walker Bueller or Max Lazar?
Lazar.
Walker Bueller or Tim Meza?
Bueller.
Okay, so
he beat out enough guys.
Even if you have even if you have 2 or 3 guys that you want over Bueller, he's still on this roster, I think.
Yeah.
And I do think that he could pitch his way into a role, not a starting role, but a role where, you know, essentially it is like if you need him in the middle of a game to get 5, 6, 7 outs, like maybe that's the guy. Right. And it would be, you know, we'll see. I mean, he could get absolutely toasted later this week in Arizona, and we totally change our minds about this, but I don't know that even a mediocre performance would make me change my mind here, because I'm looking at the rest of this roster and I'm thinking about, you know, the potential October upside. And yeah, I guess we're just going to give him probably the benefit of the doubt because of what he's done in previous Octobers. That might be sloppy and haphazard, but I think given, you know, we're talking about the end of the pitching staff.
Yep.
I don't think it's the worst idea.
It's not. And I read that story and I found myself agreeing with you that I feel like he could make the roster. It's in the same way that I feel like Walker makes the roster, but probably doesn't pitch.
I mean, if Taijuan Walker's on the roster, he's really there to be a mop-up guy.
Sure. But I would, if we're doing the A/B test thing, I would trust Walker over Trevino. I would probably trust him over Tim Meza, even though there's more of a matchup advantage that could put Meza in that situation.
I mean, if Meza's on the roster, he's there for one thing, and it's to like if there's 2 outs in an inning and a lefty batter is up, and you're going to try to Brad hand it.
Yeah, the Loogie revival, exactly. But these are important, right? Because I do feel like there's going to be at least one game in whatever series, and it may be multiple, but bare minimum one game where somebody is going to have to come out of this game early, and the end of this pitching staff is going to play a part. And I don't know if you can just say, all right, well, that's the playoffs, and just kind of like let it play as it is. You know, the game result is going to go how it goes. Maybe they pull it out. Maybe they don't. Maybe the pitcher who comes in is not really effective at bulk buoying it and getting through, 3 innings in the middle of the game, keeping them in it. I don't know what my attitude is toward that at this point, but I would like for it to have a good opportunity of keeping the team in the game. So even though we are talking about the 12th or 13th pitcher, I do think it matters. Like it.
No, I mean, go remember. Do you remember? I'm sure you do. I mean, do you remember game 1 of the 2022 NLDS in Atlanta?
I mean, I remember bits and pieces of all of these.
So Ranger got 10 outs. Remember, he walked a ton of guys. He got out of bases loaded like twice. He got 10 outs. I'm going to read you the names of the guys who came in after him. And this is why we're talking about the end of the pitching staff here.
Yep. Okay.
Andrew Bellotti got 2 outs. Connor Brogdon got 1 out. Brad Hand got 2 outs. Sir Anthony Dominguez got 6 outs in that game. Alvarado got 3, and Eflin got the last 3.
Yep. Yeah.
So you used 7 pitchers in that game.
Yeah. It is, in that game, almost went off the rails. I remember Matt Olson hitting that home run and thinking, oh no.
Yeah, Eflin gave up 3 in the 9th.
The Braves are going to do this thing again. But that's exactly right. I still remember, I remember more vividly in the 23 NLCS, the game I went to that Bailey Falter started and he didn't finish the first inning.
22, you mean?
20. Did I say 23?
Yeah.
I meant 22.
Yeah, 22. Yes. Game 4.
Game 4. Yeah. There are there are times in the playoffs where these things happen. It's going to happen. And the guys who need to come in at that time, this is the audition point, I think is what
Well, I mean, that's basically, I think that Walker Buehler can be like Connor Brogdon from that playoffs. And if you remember in that game that you went to, Connor Brogdon came in the first inning and he got 7 outs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was great.
He was really good that postseason. But his role was essentially like middle of the game, get us more than 3 outs.
Yeah, he and
as a right-hander.
Nick Martinez, I think on the San Diego side did that. It was like kind of a stabilizer for a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about 2022. Like it is important here, even as the Phillies are kind of checking off boxes for the rest of the regular season, right? Division clinches next. That will happen soon. The match numbers 1. It is inevitable. It is Thanos. It is going to happen. The bye comes after that. This series goes a long way toward accomplishing that. They cannot mathematically lock it up, even with a sweep, but they come real close. Even just winning 1 game delays things greatly for the Dodgers. But on an individual level, these smaller samples are going to matter. This is the time where you need to actually show that you are ready for what is coming as a player. There are guys whose regular seasons are going to overshadow whatever they do in these last 2 weeks. Chris Sanchez doesn't really matter. As long as he stays healthy, he just gets his work in. I don't really care about the results right now.
No, your point is right. You're right. Like if Kerkering pitches ball down a stretcher,
yes,
you're more willing to hand wave away some of the struggles in the middle of the season.
Yes. Whether that's
Buehler
right
pitches,
or wrong.
And if Buehler pitches well down the stretcher, you're willing to forget that he's been horseshit for 2 regular seasons in a row and he got released earlier this season.
Yes.
And you have no idea if you can trust him, but you're like, hey, he looks kind of cool. Like, let's just do
exactly.
it.
Exactly. It's a hot hand thing. Maybe that's a fallacy. I don't know, but there is the mental component of it.
Too bad Jordan Romano isn't active and could do this for you.
Yeah. Look, it is kind of just a mental fanhood thing from my perspective now, but there does have to be some of that lives in Rob Thompson's mind when he's thinking about these matchups. 100%. Who's throwing the ball best? There are things that'll go into it beyond that, absolutely, but it's going to matter. These next 2 weeks are going to matter for the end of that roster. So that's basically where things stand right now with the pitching side, right? We figure 3 lefties at the top minus something crazy. Figuring out where Aaron Nola goes, probably game 4 with a very short leash, and then everything just sort of sorting it out behind it. Does Tim Meza separate himself? Does Lou Trevino separate himself? Does Taijuan Walker actually get
some of the
spot?
stuff we're talking about doesn't matter?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's why I identified, to me, Kerkering and Buehler are probably the 2 most interesting guys down the stretch, pitching wise. Then Luzardo, outside of the starters. But yeah, I mean, the late innings are going to be they're gonna be sweaty until you hand the ball to Duran.
Yeah,
who seems like he's figured something out, has he not? Not that he wasn't good before, but it just seems like he's.
Look,
it's like the happy learned how to putt thing. It's like Duran learned how to throw an 0-0 curveball and then throw fastballs above the zone.
He's just
like if he flips in an 0-0 curveball to 1 batter a game for the rest of the way. He doesn't have to do it again at all in the postseason, but it will start appearing on scouting reports. Like, so hitters I talk to they'll always throw away. Like if it's they'll call it a 1%er. Like they'll get a scouting report and it's like a breakdown of what a guy throws in certain counts or whatever. Certain hitters will want a certain report, what 0 counts or whatever. And if Duran throws the 0-0 curveball just enough here to end the season, it's going to be like a 10%er or something, and it will be in guys' heads, and they will have to respect it at least a little bit, especially if they're, if the opponent is preparing a scouting report that also weighs September a little heavier. It will be on there, and it will force a guy to at least think about it in the beginning of an at-bat in the postseason.
If your small business has a problem, you could say,
"Ugh, just my luck."
But you should say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
And we'll help get you back in business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
On Deck is built to back small businesses like yours. Whether you're buying equipment, expanding your team, or bridging cash flow gaps, On Deck's loans up to $250,000 help make it happen fast. Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau and earning thousands of 5-star Trustpilot reviews, On Deck delivers funding you can count on. Apply in minutes at OnDeck.com. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by On Deck or Celtic Bank. On Deck does not lend in North Dakota. All loans and amounts subject to lender approval.
High Five Casino is the top sweepstakes casino that's free to play. Sign up today to receive a free welcome bonus and exclusive first purchase offers. Choose the Lucky Deal package for $9.99 and claim up to 550 game coins, 33 sweeps coins, 1 sweep coin daily bonus for 4 days, and 350 diamonds. Your high five moment awaits at highfivecasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm looking at his numbers, and it's just everything is just, it's so good. The Mets game, the first Mets game on the road, the walk-off with the 4 singles, like, okay, that was weird.
He was in the zone too much.
He was in the zone a lot.
He wasn't changing speeds. I mean, the Mets were geared up for the splitter.
In his next
same velocity.
Yeah. And in his next 8 appearances, 8 flat innings, 2 hits, no walks, 12 strikeouts.
The strikeouts going up is a big thing.
Yep. 17 swinging strikes and 92 pitches. Again, just 92 pitches in 8 appearances. He is so efficient to a point where you have to think about how often you can use him for more than 3 outs in the playoffs, which I'm sure they will. It's just a matter of how often and when. Yeah, he's amazing. And getting to that point is everything right now. Figuring out who can do that for you regularly. I feel good about the way Matt Strahm has been lately. David Robertson, more often than not, I felt okay. He does kind of make things interesting
a little bit here and there. Yeah. And he's always going to be that. We know what he's going to be.
Yes.
It's going to be sweaty.
Yeah, exactly. It's sweaty. That's 2025 Phillies yearbook. All right. Looking at the other side of things here, turning things over to the offense just for a moment, because there's a little more uncertainty here, and a little more impactful uncertainty, I would say. We know that Trey Turner and Alec Bohm are on the injured list. We figure Alec
Bohm will be active on Friday.
Yeah,
Friday.
So
first in Arizona, Bohm will be active. Bohm came with the team out here. Yes.
Yeah, excellent. So he's going to spend the minimum time on the IL. That's great. He'll come back and relieve the third base rotation of Donovan Walton and Otto Kemp and all of that wonderful stuff happening there. Although Walton has only played second base in his time in. So
it's been Kemp pretty much. Yeah. But there's okay. So there's a bigger question about. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Keep going.
Well, and Turner obviously is the one everybody's focused on right now. He seems to be progressing, but is still a while away from returning. There's a possibility he gets in before the end of the regular season, but we don't know.
I think there's a very, very strong possibility he is playing when the Phillies get home.
Excellent. So the news continues to look pretty good there. And then we start thinking about, okay, once those guys get back, Bohm, Turner, the left side of the infield, and we start thinking about this revitalized outfield mix that we've been watching over the last couple of weeks with Harrison Bader having, 6 straight multi-hit games. Brandon Marsh looking excellent. Really, Brandon Marsh has been very good since the end of the first month of the season. Yes. Nick Castellanos is getting pushed to the side a bit here. Max Kepler has looked better.
Yes.
So it's not awesome, but better. There's going to be an interesting conversation to have, I think, about who's going to be available as the right-handed bat that will likely need to come in for either Kepler or Marsh in a late game situation. Because even though Marsh has looked better, you probably don't fully trust him still against some of the better lefties that may come out of the pen. I mean, think about this Dodgers series coming up, right? They'll probably use Alex Vesia or probably
Tanner
not
Scott.
Tanner. Well, yeah, Tanner Scott at the end of the game for sure. You probably want to counter that with a right-handed bat. Probably. Not definitely, but probably. So, Matt, thinking about that left side, Weston Wilson is still in the mix. Otto Kemp, maybe. What is the deal here? What do we?
There's a couple of things at play here. Okay, there's a couple of things at play. One, how sure are you? How sure are you that Alec Bohm is starting at third base in the first game of the division series?
Pretty sure. Not definitive.
I am too, but it's not definitive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to show them something when he comes back.
Yeah.
He will be back Friday in Arizona, and he'll have 9 games. And this falls under that more gray area where you can't necessarily make a decision on those 9 games, like you were talking about before, about who's got the hot hand.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to weigh that against some real downward trends before he got hurt.
Yeah,
it was not great.
Yeah,
I mean, he has not hit for any semblance of power. And you got to see something there. You just, even if it's not results, you want to see hard hit balls and just good at bats. Like,
agree.
You got to see something there, I think, in the last 9 days. So further to that, the Weston Wilson, Otto Kemp situation, that's probably only room for one guy on this playoff roster, because I'm of the opinion that there's a player not currently on the roster who will be on their playoff roster.
Oh, drum roll, please. That is.
Yeah, I mean, I think Johan Rojas in a 5-game series, you don't need 13 pitchers. Okay?
No.
You don't. And a 14th position player who looks and plays like Johan Rojas makes a lot of sense because of the defense and the speed element.
Yes.
There would be a role for him in a 5-game series more than there would be a 13th pitcher. Yes. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind about that. He's played well at AAA. I think they've told him keep going. And I think there is a path for him to be playing for them in October, or at least be on their bench.
I am on board with that fully.
Right?
Yep.
And look, like, we know what Johan Rojas is. We know that there's potential there, but we also know the flaws. But I think in that role, I do think he brings something to them in October. So I think there's only room for one of Wilson or Kemp. Kemp's had a really good September. But I am looking at it and this is me, and we've talked about this when we get to October a lot, and I think that velocity matters so much when evaluating pitchers and hitters in October. Velocity is king, especially if we're talking about late in games. Okay, and if we're thinking about this righty, whether it be Wilson or Kemp, being someone who might be pinch hitting late in games against a lefty, I want to know how they do against velocity. And right now, that is a huge weak spot for Otto Kemp. On pitches in the majors, 96 or harder, he's only slugging 241. Wilson this year hasn't seen a lot of it, but he's slugging 500. He has not seen as many pitches at 96 or harder. I'm not filtering for pitcher handedness here. I could, but I think velocity is important when evaluating, because in the playoffs, you just see more velocity. It's just a thing. And Wilson is also doing better against lefties with velocity. Same kind of split. So I do think that has to play into it. The bigger question probably then, Paul, is that if they do face a lefty starter, is the potential loss of defense out, if you have a righty, Kemp or Wilson in left field, outweighing the negative you might have at the plate with Marsh or Kepler playing in left field but giving you good defense? Like that, there's a trade-off for each scenario, and I'm not sure where they'll land, but this is something to answer to in the final 12 days.
Yeah. I think my early thought would probably be to prioritize outfield defense during the Nola start, especially for the early innings, and then leave yourself open to the sub later once he is inevitably taken out and you just kind of do an all hands on deck kind of thing. I'm speaking very broadly here, of course. It becomes a little less important when you're talking about Chris Sanchez, because he has so few balls that really go to the outfield, honestly.
Sure. Same with Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
It's I've been fooled on this before, but
this is quibbles. I mean, we're talking about real.
Sure. I want to see how Brandon Marsh.
We're pebble hunting right now.
I want to see how Brandon Marsh looks against the lefties he faces these last couple of weeks. I've been fooled on this before. I've been burned here before. with Brandon Marsh and lefties. I have. But I want to see how he looks, because there will be some kind of afforded comfort, I hope, that he could give with a steady performance. Even if the results don't hang in there, I just don't want to see, I don't want to see a 45% K rate in this small sample. Just the little thing. This is a quibble, of course. Man, he has been so much better lately. I would love to see him continue that and add on a little bit of, lefty effectiveness. Hang in there.
Yeah, and for context, I mean, the Padres have no lefty starters. The Cubs would have possibly two, Boyd and Imanaga.
Yep.
The Dodgers, one, maybe two. I mean, Kershaw.
Who knows how they would use
Snell or
pitchers,
Kershaw?
though. Yeah, they would probably open with somebody, I would think, too.
The Mets, who the hell knows, would be pitching for the Mets in the playoff series. They just moved Chaminade to the bullpen. I don't know. I can't even go into the Mets because I don't even know where to start there. The Brewers won't have, not that he was going to start a playoff game for them. I don't think he was, but he might have started one against the Phillies. But Jose Quintana looks like he's out. Like he's hurt. Injured his calf in Sunday's game. It sounds like it's a significant enough injury to sideline him. So that removes a lefty starter from the Brewers' arsenal. And they may not seem like a big deal early on to Milwaukee because they have Peralta and Quinn Priester and Brandon Woodruff and Jacob Mizorowski, 4 decent righties atop the rotation.
Yeah.
But I'm going to guess, Paul, that like in a hypothetical series against the Phillies, Jose Quintana might have started one of those games.
He might have. Yeah. I would not have been surprised at all to hear his number get called.
Even though he's been on insignificant injury. Yeah. It's going to sound stupid, but like that's not an insignificant injury as it relates to the Phillies.
You know what it reminds me of in that case, and it also ties back to the Brewers in 2008. I remember when Ben Sheets got hurt later in the year. And the Phillies were able to dodge him in that series. Like, it's a different situation. Ben Sheets at his best was a dominant pitcher, and Jose Quintana is far from being his best self.
Jose Quintana at his best is dominant against the Phillies.
Well, yeah, that is very true. Like, he's not at his White Sox peak anymore for sure, but he can hold the Phillies down. These contact merchant guys, I mean, we saw that with Noah Cameron in yesterday's game, Sunday's game. These guys who can hang around the zone and know where to place it, even if they're not overpowering, they can kind of handle this lineup, which is why the Quinn Priester thing is an interesting point, because he is not overwhelming, but he's got the stuff that can keep him around the zone. He's got decent enough command that, maybe he could hold them down a couple times through the order. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not trying to conjure up any ghosts or anything here, but it is worth looking at. But that, getting back to your point, what you just looked through, the population of the playoffs is an important factor here, and that does work in the Phillies' favor if the number of left-handed starters could,
I can tell you what it is. What it means is that you're not going to be seeing much of Nick Castellanos.
Nope. This has been a preview, Matt. We got it when Nick did not start against Freddie Peralta during the Brewer series. We got it. We saw it. We got it. We got our
called
look.
that. I mean, I was like, we're gonna know, and you were right.
And he will play in spots. He'll get looks. He is not a starting outfielder on this team right now. He's not. No. He's been outplayed. He has been outplayed by 3 other guys, and that's just the way it is. That's
And come October, like, to your point about, maybe going for the outfield defense. I mean, just the tiniest thing matters so much. So much. Yeah. Anyone who watched 2011 NLDS Game 5, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I mean, like, the tiniest thing can mean so much. And right now, Nick Castellanos' right field play is borderline, like, just harmful to anything. Yeah, and if he was hitting, you could maybe justify it. But even if he was hitting, it'd be really hard to justify because his right field is not good.
Yeah. So that's the deeper
they should have lost the first. They should have lost the first Mets game on the ball hit the right field.
Right.
And maybe this past week looks a lot different. But
yeah, with the Ronnie Mauricio thing, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. The deeper it gets into the season, the easier it gets to make that call. I felt tentative about it in August, even though the signs were clearly pointing in this direction. And it's just, we're here now. Nick will be in there to, have an at bat or two against the lefty, whether that's a starter or a reliever that comes in. I can
maybe, but that's also why, this is also why, Paul, I want to carry Johan Rojas, because if you have a late game situation where, let's say, Kepler is due to bat and the team brings in a lefty reliever, you pinch it with Castellanos and Rojas goes to play the field.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point, and that's good strategy. That's strategy that I would deploy, because I don't want Nick Doe going out into the field after he pitch hits. I don't want that. I don't want that.
I mean, maybe they'll even make the argument that Kepler left on left is a better, maybe they're not even gaining enough, with getting the right on left Castellanos versus the lefty at bat. Maybe, they might not. I mean, recently they haven't, but
yeah,
I don't know. That's just another reason for me that Rojas should be, firmly in play for a roster spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. All right. Well, with that in mind, and with a few things still left to be decided here in the final couple of weeks, whether in the standings or with roster decisions, we look ahead to what should be an entertaining 3-game series that starts here tonight, Monday night, September the 15th. Yes, but
do you know who they're possibly going to face this weekend in Arizona?
Go ahead and tell me. I'm blanking.
Nabil Crismatt.
Oh, the Chrysler. Oh, that's
right. I think he's going to start one of those games. He's been kind of good. Are the Diamondbacks going to make the playoffs?
Honestly,
they might.
They're 2 games back of the Mets right now. Giants are a game and a half, so they're a leapfrog ahead, and Cincinnati is still in at 2.5. The Mets situation, I know they won yesterday, and they just scraped it out. It was an 8-game losing streak at the worst possible time, and they still can't have anybody finish more than 5 innings. These guys are going to get their arms thrown off. You see, Reed Garrett is already shot. It's just, I don't know. It does not look good. I would not feel good about currently holding on to a playoff spot. If I'm a Mets fan, just because the pitching is just dire. I know they have a good offense. The lineup is good. They could probably outslug a couple of things. Having Juan Soto be Juan Soto for the last couple of months, that helps. But man, oh boy, that pitching situation.
The Diamondbacks split the season series of the Mets, and it'll still be up for grabs, but the Diamondbacks have a better
the
divisional record. Yeah, so the Diamondbacks are probably going to have the tiebreaker there.
Yeah, so that's a good, I think, last point.
Rate them if it's not the Mets, who do you think is the best shot?
Of
Giants, Diamondbacks, Reds, yeah.
I like the point that was made in our Discord over the weekend about the Giants playing like they have nothing to lose. They've sort of just found a
They're
Giants
calling up
magic
Bryce
thing.
Eldridge.
Yeah,
he's going to play first base for them.
He's so tall. I wouldn't want them to do that because it's me and I have bloodlust against the Giants.
Well, which ghosts scare you more, the Giants or the Diamondbacks? There's a lot of
the Giants.
And the Mets. I mean, there's a lot of ghosts here.
There are ghosts.
This is there's a lot of ghosts of postseasons past here that are knocking on the door.
The Diamondbacks ghost does not trouble me from 2 years ago. It does not. The Giants will always trouble me. I'm just scarred from the early 2010s, and that's the way it's going to be for a long time. And the Reds do nothing for me. They do nothing for me.
The Reds mean nothing to me.
They mean nothing I don't think about you at all. If they make the playoffs, then okay, whatever. It's fine.
Will the 6th seed win the wild card series? And why is the answer yes?
Yeah, I was going to say, of course they're going to. It's going to be a messy team that makes it, and of course they're going to win it. Of course they are.
All the more reason to not be the 3. I mean,
exactly.
You really... Right? Doesn't it feel like if it's the Phillies or the Dodgers who drops down to, who is the 3, they're going to be the heaviest of favorites in that first series, and something weird is going to happen.
Of course. Absolutely. Those best of 5 series terrify me. they're the worst.
3, you mean best of 3, but yes.
Oh yeah, I was skipping ahead to the division series, but yeah, no, the wild card series, of course. I am figuring the Phillies are 95% going to be skipping that. We'll see if they actually
in a great spot.
Yeah,
like you said, if they don't get swept this series against the Dodgers, they pretty much have to bye.
Yeah. All right, time to make it happen, boys. 3 games late out west. I am probably, I guess, going to try and take a nap around 7:30. So
I guess. I'm also going to be taking a nap. I was up at 4:45 a.m. Pacific time. And I've already had one coffee, and I'll have more, and I'm going to have a nap too.
Yeah, there we go. The 9 p.m. coffee will cure me. All right, so that's that. Monday, September the 15th. Things are still good. The homestand ended with a loss. Whatever. Who cares? The rest of it was so good, it barely matters. The Phillies have 3 games with the Dodgers. Should be a fun series if you're able to have that 9 p.m. coffee and make it work. It's a good one for all the night owls out there. There's a lot to look forward to, a lot of matchups to check out, and the Phillies will continue their pursuit of a first-round bye in the National League playoffs, which they are officially part of for the 4th straight year. Matt, 4 years of Phillies therapy, 4 seasons of Phillies therapy, 4 playoff berths. The perfect run continues unabated.
Clearly, it's us.
It's us, baby. And a quick parting shout out to Cherry Hill East's own Krista Milioti on her Emmy win last night. Someone I acted in plays with in high school just won an Emmy for lead actress.
What a flex. Way to make it about you.
Yeah, man. That's why I put it at the very end of the episode, because it needed to be about me. That's it. The episode.
That's pretty cool. It was a great show. If you haven't, I mean,
yeah,
the Penguin was awesome. It was so good. It was so good.
Absolutely worth checking out. Okay, cool.
A lot of shows that I watched one last night. Also, speaking of, I
everything you touch turns to gold, is what you're saying.
No, on a plane, I watched the first episode of Task, which is set in Delco, and Mark Ruffalo's character references Ryan Howard.
I saw that there was a T-shirt from one of the more what was it? Philly Goat, I think, one of the manufacturers of like meme T-shirts and
really
stuff like that on one of the characters. Yeah, the Schuylkill River Mermaid sweatshirt or whatever it is. It's
nice.
It's nice. Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, it was a good show. The first episode was fantastic. Highly recommend if you have HBO.
Good stuff. All right, we'll wrap it up here. Our 3rd episode in a week. Whoa, we're revving up for the playoffs, baby. Feels good. Check out this Dodgers series if you can stay awake. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This has been Phillies Therapy, part of the Believe Podcast Network. For Matt, I am Paul, and we'll catch you soon.
"16 years from today, Greg Gerstner will finally land the perfect cannonball. Epic splash. Unsuspecting friends. A work of art only possible because Greg is already meeting all these same people at AARP volunteer and community events that keep him active and involved and help make sure his happiness lives as long as he does. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Learn more at aarp.org/local.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu? Is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Ever felt defeated by cravings? You're not alone. Henry Meds is here to help support your weight management journey.
Since I joined 4 months ago, I've lost 25 pounds and it has changed my life.
Henry Med's personalized compounded GLP-1 meds shipped to your door. Take back control with treatments designed to reduce appetite. Schedule a free online evaluation with a licensed provider at henrymeds.com/audio and get $100 off your first month. Results may vary. Not all patients are eligible. Compounded medications are not FDA approved. Consult a healthcare provider to determine if treatment is right for you.